Today, I'd like to talk about the formation and a short history of the Cabal. Who is the Cabal and where did they come from? And I'm going to do so using a summarized approach. And I'm going to not go into the weeds on this. I'm not going to go into all the little details because that's where we can get lost, and that's where we can get a lot of disinformation. And I think it's important that we understand the untold origin of this cabal and its association with star beings. Because the cabal formed as a result of contact with other beings, other intelligences. Now, again, we can go into the detail whether it was, whether they were from other planets, other dimensions, other timelines, or a combination of all three, and other discussions. I'm not going to get into all of the details, but I'm just going to say, we're just going to lump them all together. Advanced cultures, okay? Advanced cultures who, for one reason or another, had an interest in this planet and its people, right? Now, the Cabal would originate from a group of people who are connected to the power structures of the earth, the leaders of nations. So that it would have been. So if let's go back to the time. Let's say 1930s and 40s. Let's go back to the 30s and 40s. So that's about 80 years. So we're going to go back 80 years. Again, I want to keep this very focused so we understand the basic concept. The architecture, I want you to understand the architecture of how this cabal formed. And it also gives you insight on how a secret society forms. And you can use this architecture, you can use this model to understand what might have happened further back. And you can use this model that when you get a lot of disinformation, you can go back to this model, this architecture, and you can get back to the truth. Because it's very easy to get into all of the disinformation. The disinformation comes from all of this, people not understanding the way things happened. And this is the way I understand them to have happened. Now, let's go back 80 years, and there are a group of non-humans, star beings, if you want to use the archaic military term, extraterrestrial, you can use that. But they're advanced people, and they have advanced technology, they have advanced science. So for example, they have mastered space travel. They have mastered interplanetary travel. They are able to do genetic engineering. They are able to teleport. They're able to go forward and backward in time. You know, they are able to communicate wirelessly. You know, they have advanced sciences in medicine, in healing, in DNA. They understand the transfer of souls. They have a deep understanding of consciousness. You know, all of these things are more advanced than us. Some of these races are thousands of years ahead of us, or tens of thousands. And some of them are millions of years ahead of us, and some of them are billions of years ahead of us. And it's hard to wrap your mind around that, because you're talking about technologies and science and spirituality that up to billions of years ahead of us. And what does that mean? Is that means these races were around before the earth was formed, right? And put that in connection with the human race. The modern human is about 30 to 40,000 years old. The modern human. So from the Neanderthal, which is, let's say, a couple 100,000 years, and then the last 30,000, 40,000 years is a modern human. And the modern human was still a primitive, still a primate, a bipedal creature. And today, so in 30,000 years, we have attained so much progress. So you have these races that are around for millions or billions of years. They're very advanced. Okay, so hopefully we're setting the context. It's a big discussion, and I am purposely going to limit some of the topics so that we don't get lost, okay? Well, what kind of alien was it? Well, it doesn't matter. They were more advanced. Right? They were more advanced. 80 years. Let's go back 80 years. Okay? They come here and they want to service the planet. They want to make sure that the human civilization evolves, because they know that not every civilization evolves. They also know that there are some problems with our civilization, and it might be heading in a downward direction unless they have some new ideas. You know, society always needs new ideas. You need a better idea. Otherwise, it goes down. According to the star beings, the DNA degrades over time. It starts to degrade. So unless there's a continual improvement in the DNA, the species will degrade. So, as well as the planet, according to star being science, stellar science, planets need to be serviced. They need to be repaired. They need, the atmosphere needs to be looked after. The frequency of the earth needs to look after. The flow of energy. It's like a being, right? It needs service. It's like a human being. When you go see a doctor, the planet is a being from the point of view of these advanced cultures who've been around for billions of years, who have formed planets, who have seen the formation of planets. They can build the planets. So they want to take care of the planet. And then there's other races who want to take care of the human being. So to do so, they need to cooperate with the leadership of the earth. And at that time, the most powerful nations were the Soviet Union, China, America, and Europe. Basically 4 regions, right? Around this 80 years ago. So at the time, the leaders of these nations are not particularly friendly. They're not particularly moral, right? And they have mixed morality. They also, they're connected to secret societies, and they've been, a lot of them are corrupt. Corrupt leaders, people in the power structures. And so the star beings need to cooperate with these leaders because those are the leaders. And, they have no choice but to form some kind of agreement with these leaders and all of their affiliations, right? And the leadership is connected to secret societies. But the leaders of the nation, they control the military, technology, science, medicine. They have control and influence of all of these areas in a country. So what do? You negotiate. And you say to these people, so they bring out their representatives, and the star beings bring out their representatives, and they say, we want to do this, right? We want to service the planet. We want to contact some of our people on the earth, some star beings who have incarnated in human form. We have some star children here that we would like to contact so that they know their true heritage. And we would like, at some point, we would like the civilization, the earth, humans, to know that they have star origins, that this planet was colonized a long time ago, and that human beings came from other planets, other solar systems. So that's what the star beings want, right? In summary, I'm simplifying it, I'm summarizing it so that we don't get lost. Otherwise, this is a 10-hour discussion. So the star beings have their demands, let's say, their request. And then the leaders and the representatives of these governments who look at these people as strangers, as potential enemies, as we don't trust these people, and they don't always look human, and they're very advanced. We don't know their intention, so there's a lot of apprehension. The people, they say, listen, well, we will agree to your demands, but we want something, right? We want something. And the secret societies, they got their people in there, and they say, well, because they know that these beings exist, and they've been here before in the past. They say, well, get them to give us advanced technology. Let's give them advanced weaponry. Let's get them to give us genetic knowledge, genetic engineering. Let's find out what's on other planets, right? Let's get all this technology and science. Let's get some new science. Let's start inventing stuff. We want some of this nuclear technology, nuclear science, computers, video transmission, broadcasting. We want all this stuff. And so the star beings, the representatives, who may appear in human form, who may appear in other forms, right? They'll have a human representative. They'll send in a human representative into the government, into a government facility, right? Even if it's public, they look human, so you would never know that they're star beings. Special attaché, right? Foreign guest, ambassador. They go in and they start to share some of this knowledge, scientific knowledge. They'll send in a scientist who will go work at a science facility. They'll send a technologist to start working at a corporation and invent a new technology. Hey, here's a mobile phone. Look at this thing. It's called a personal computer. The star beings tend to work within the capacity of the civilization, within the level of the civilization, right? So they they will invent something within that capacity. Otherwise, you could cause a distortion in society. But in the secret facilities, in the underground installations, these meetings are taking place, and there's a transfer of technology, right? Here is a blaster pistol. This is a laser rifle. This is an engine for our ship. This is how it works. This is how we can fly without fuel. It creates an electromagnetic propulsion. This is how we travel across space with these engines. This is how you create an energy field around a ship. They start doing this in the installations. Again, the idea is we will share technology and science with you, and you will allow us to service the planet, to communicate with our people, with our children, with our people, or the people who have incarnated as humans. Again, that's a science we don't have yet. Incarnation. That's a stellar science. It's incarnation, right? So now, we're talking 80 years ago, human beings who are at the top of the leadership, top of the military, top of the science, technology, medicine, culture, anthropology, all of these people are getting access to advanced ideas, and they're being contacted directly by these stellans, these advanced people. Because the stellans have no choice. We need to cooperate with the leaders, and the leaders in charge happen to be corrupt. And there happen to be a lot of these secret society members who have bad intentions. But they have no choice. They need to do what they need to do. So let's hand them some technology. Now the leadership, right, starts to sequester some of this technology. The advanced technology, the anti-gravity propulsion. They start to sequester that. They say, well, the star beings say, we would like for you to use the anti-gravity technology to upgrade your airplanes so that you can have airplanes that can be anti-gravity. They don't need jet fuel. You can drive cars. Well, you can have an electric car, but we also have this other technology. It's called free energy. And your car could be free energy. In the future, your car can fly, right? You don't need any tires. And these leaders and their scientific institutions now start to think, hey, we have a situation here. This stuff is incredible. We're not going to give it to the people, right? We can use this stuff. Yeah, we need to understand this stuff. We need some time. Society's not ready. They go back to the stellans. Well, society's not ready for the anti-gravity plane, But let us work with it, and maybe we can make something. Society's not ready to talk about genetic engineering, but let us work with it, and we'll let you know. Society's not ready, with this nuclear science. So let us develop it, right? And yeah, let's see your spaceships. Yeah, take us around the moon, take us around Mars. Let's see what's going on, right? And maybe you can help build us a base on the moon. Yeah. We're going to use your technology, and then we're going to build a base on the moon, and we could do some other research that's secret, that's top secret, so that we don't bother the people on the earth. So the Stellans are thinking, well, it sounds reasonable. Let them build a base and we'll help them with the ships and we'll teach them how to build the dome and yeah, we'll help them progress. Because in the future, we're going to tell the public the truth, right? The leaders. Now, this group now, right? You see how the formation is. This group becomes an exclusive and elite group that all the corrupt people start to take this stuff, these advanced ideas, advanced science, advanced technology, and they start to say, well, we need this, and we'll give the people a little bit. And they start to form this cabal, right? So you got leaders, you got military, you got secret societies, scientists, you got this intellectual, you got the billionaires and the millionaires, all the rich class, everybody who has connection starts to see it's corruption, right? It's greed. Starts to see, well, we can advance our nation using all this stuff. We could become a powerful military nation. We can travel across the stars. We can build underground cities. We can genetically repair ourselves and live forever. And we don't have to tell the public, because all we have to tell the Stellans is that the people are not ready. Right? The people are not ready. So you get this, now you're getting the formation of the cabal over years, over decades. The formation of this elite class with access to all of this advanced stuff that was basically handed to them. See, the cabal didn't invent stuff. They were handed information. They were handed blueprints. They were handed scientific formulas, right? From these advanced races. Their scientists worked with a Stellan scientist to create something. And then the cabal patented that idea and they made money off of it. Or they kept it off the market, right? They protected it. They have all the patents. Technology companies have all these patents. And what does that mean? It means if I invent something and they have a patent, then they have the right, right? I can't reproduce it. So now you're creating this, you're creating all of these barriers. Maybe I could do that. You're creating all of these barriers to society, civilization. By the same token, at the same time, right? At the same time of these negotiations and transfer of information and a lot of this high expectation, when a starship would be flying, the cabal, the military, would use an advanced weapon able to track, right? Because the cabal would say, listen, we know you're flying your ships around, and we don't want your ship to run into our jets and our military. So can you tell us, can you give us something that we can monitor your ships, that can track you, right? So that because your ships are advanced. Yeah, your ships are advanced. We can't track you with our radar. Can you give us something else to track you so that we don't have an incident? Right? This is a situation. It seems sincere, right? It seems sincere. They might even use somebody who is sincere. Our military says there might be an incident. We need to be able to track you. can you give us your energy signature, the signature of your ships, and then we won't have a problem, right? So the Stellans, because the Stellans come from very high moral, they're very noble, they work on level of, basically authenticity and trust. So they trust these people. But these people are lying. They still trust them because they're very advanced. They're very advanced. They don't think of deception and lying and cheating. They don't think on this level, and it's hard for them to understand such a primitive culture. So they believe them. They say, well, listen, they'll send in some representatives, say, our military needs this. And they say, well, that sounds reasonable. We'll give you that. We don't want any conflict. Now, the Cabal takes that information and they create a weapon. And when the ship comes in, they track the ship and they shoot the ship down. So we're not saying that, again, we're not saying that everybody is corrupt, but within those high-level people, there is this group of corrupt individuals, power-hungry elitists, secret society members who have other intentions. And this is the Cabal. And these people are connected, we're talking, they're government officials, the military officials, scientists, lawyers, you name it. That's the formation of the Cabal, right? We patent the technology through the lawyers, through the patent office. We have technology, we start corporations. Now we have the billionaires funding money to make this technology, these patents, develop these patents, they develop technologies to profit from some of this stuff. We have the military creating, back engineering, weaponizing stuff. We have scientists looking at new sciences, nuclear science, computer science, programming, software. And this is just the basic stuff. We're not getting into the advanced stuff. So the Cabal starts to form, right, from this exchange. They shoot down a ship and they say, well, it was an accident. Yeah, it was just an accident. And they sequester the technology from the ship. Stuff that the Stellans wouldn't give them, right? The Stellans wouldn't give them everything. So the stuff that they wouldn't give them, they just shot down a ship and they killed the crewman and they sequestered the technology. Now we're starting to get into this power struggle, right? Because now the Cabal is using the nation, the nation, right? The money from the nation, the military from the nation, the resources from the nation, because the Cabal is a small group, and they're using it to go against these Stellans, these star beings, whose intentions were very clear. And the agreement was always that in the future, we will disclose your presence here on the earth, right? Let us develop some of this stuff. Let us understand some of your science and technology, and you do your thing. And then at some point, we'll disclose it, right? A few years, 10 years, we'll disclose it, and there'll be a big disclosure that we're not alone in the universe. That's the agreement. But these corrupt individuals had another plan, right? They keep delaying it. They say, well, society's not ready. And the Stellans are saying, well, society seems to be ready. So the Cabal, they start to, their mind starts to go. And they say, well, we need to show, right? So but this now we're talking about 1950. 1950. is when they say, let's test the market. Are people ready to meet star beings? Let's test the market. And 1950 is the movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, right? Which was this human alien who came to the Earth to warn them that their nuclear technology would cause their destruction. It would cause them, and if they went into space with these nuclear weapons, that would be bad. And they didn't want that, right? It was a warning. And the alien was a human-looking alien. And many star beings are human-looking. They look human. So, 1950, right? Or 1951, sorry. 1950, 51. I think 50, they wrote it, and then 51. So 51, The Day the Earth Stood Still. That movie, if you watch it, it's quite intelligent, makes a lot of sense. People, they have some apprehension, but overall, is a positive message. So the Cabal said, right? Because now the government is, there's the Cabal, there's the corrupt people, and then there's the good-hearted people, and there's a bunch of those, and there's the corrupt. And there's the people in between. So the government makes this movie, right? Through the media, through the Hollywood. Stellans say, look, the general reaction is good. People are ready to talk about aliens, spaceships. So we need to show them that. And the Cabal says, well, we need to do something. We need to show that people aren't ready. In 1953, you have the movie version of War of the Worlds, right? There's an invasion from Mars. And that's a big movie. And that starts the fear campaign against these star beings, who people at the highest level and the Cabal, right? These elitist, corrupt elites, they all know that the star beings, the Stellans, have not shown any intention to invade, and in fact have been handing out technology and science and advanced ideas by the truckload, by the starship load. And at the same time, their ships are getting attacked, their people are getting attacked, their people are taken as prisoners, they're interrogated for information, right? Because these people, they want more, they want more. So 1953 starts the evil alien campaign. And then the Cabal say, listen, people are scared of aliens because they're scaring them. You know, they are scaring, they're creating these horror movies. And then they go to the Stellan and say, when people are not scared, we will do a disclosure. But secretly, the Cabal is like, as long as we keep society afraid, then these guys will never show up, right? They'll never know. And as long as we keep saying we need more time with the technology, we don't understand the technology, we need more time, we need more time. And then they back engineer it, they weaponize it. So 20 years, 30 years go by. Now the Cabal has taken the military, they're building underground bases, right? They're building underground installations. There's installations on the moon. They have their own spaceships, back-engineered spaceships. You know, by the 80s, the U.S. Navy and the Air Force have their own homemade starships. right? And if you look at the Apollo space missions, they barely made it to the moon. Well, they have bases on the moon. They've been flying to the moon since the 50s because they have access to this advanced technology from these advanced races. And in public, they deny the existence of these races. And they demonize these races. And if you talk about them, they say those people are crazy. But they've been cooperating with advanced races for 80 years. And what's happened over the decades is that this group has become so powerful, and they've sequestered all this technology, and they've profited from all these patents, right? All these patents, and they've introduced new consumer items into the market, and they've profited from that. And they've amassed money and technology, and they've formed their own, basically, civilization. It's a second civilization, an elite, corrupt civilization that has basically alien technology. And they control the media. And they will not talk about this stuff because it would upset the people. Because the people have been brainwashed for 80 years, right? And now it's the disclosure and the deception has gone on for so long. And the technology we have and the secrets and the things they have done are so terrible that if they disclose what's going on, I mean, there's going to be a lot of upset people. Right? So just imagine some ideas here. We would have been off of gasoline engines 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. We would be off of tires. We would be traveling to other planets. We would have airplanes that don't need jet fuel. There's anti-gravity ships. Right? We might have teleportation. Right? We might have cured diseases. We might have cured famine. We would have seen the end of war. Right? We imagine that we had openly contacted these star beings and more of them came. Imagine the knowledge we would have learned, right? In medicine, in spirituality, in healing, in sciences and anthropology, philosophy, and all of this stuff we could have excelled as a civilization. And all of that was suppressed, repressed, and censored. And now, right? So they create this evil alien paranoia, this boogeyman in space. Because why? Because the evil alien are not evil. And if they came and contacted humanity directly, right? Everything would change. The Cabal would lose power. The Cabal, in fact, they would be kicked out for the things and crimes they've committed. They would be in a lot of trouble, right? And people would wake up to what's really going on. And that's what's really going on. So what you have here is a second civilization. What you have here is a second civilization that has access and has developed advanced technology and science. And they use it to control the world, right? They use it, and some of the stuff is very advanced. And if you get into magic, some of them have magic, right? Because some of these Stellans, they have access to some of their abilities are magical, right? And so you have this second civilization. And then so these people at some point starts to communicate with starts to cooperate with star beings who are corrupt like them. And then they start to cooperate with corrupt star beings. And the noble altruistic class of beings, they're put to the side, right? They have to work around all of this chaos and corruption and threat, right? Such that when they contact one of their people here, this second civilization, the MyLabs, right? They'll contact and they'll attack that same person, right? The anal probe. The anal probe doesn't come from star being. The anal probe comes from this human faction that now has a starship, and they can fly to somebody's house and abuse them, right? That they can track spaceships, so they know where they went, and they know who they contacted, and they have the names of the people, right? That's information that was shared. They have They have the names of people who have incarnated on the earth as star beings, because that was part of the deal. Hey, we need that information. Do you mind giving it to us? Well, it's important. Now we have the information. We know who on the earth has incarnated as a star being. And that went on, so that situation went on for decades, right? Until there's this breakaway group. And then in recent years, in the last 10 years, and we'll end it here, the last 10 years is when those old agreements were finally rescinded. And only the last 10 years is when these genuine star beings have changed their approach, and they're now cooperating with people who have a good heart and a good mind and good intention. They're contacting people directly, and this is accelerating. You have a bunch of these altruistic groups who are now bypassing the control structure, right? And you're seeing a lot of changes in the world. And so you have this cabal, this second civilization, who is at war. So the cabal is at war with this group, this alliance. And the alliance is now working with any good-hearted, good-willed, sincere human being on the ground, and the cabal has their corrupt people. And this is, but again, the cabal, the second civilization have had decades to control the intelligence agencies, the military agencies, politics, monetary system, banking, media. They have a huge influence. So it's not an easy transfer. But that's the situation now. You have the alliance, which is made of these original stellar star beings, inner earth beings, and good-hearted human beings, and intelligence people who don't want to be controlled by corrupt individuals, and who are concerned about the future of the earth. That's the alliance. And then you have the cabal. The cabal heads up this second civilization, this breakaway group, and they're all corrupt, right? And they have their people, the corrupt people everywhere. The cabal, they don't wear badges, they don't have name tags, but you know them by their disposition. You know them by their disinformation, right? You know them by the disinformation. When they start talking about things that are not true, that's how you know them. When you look at their talking points, look for the talking points. That's how you know them, right? Talking points. Deception, disinformation, misdirection. That's their talking points. So right now we are in this tussle, and a lot of it, because everyone's advanced and this is all secret, a lot of it goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of stuff happens and it's covered up because they don't want this to go public, because that would upset people, right? Because even if you were to know this and you've never known it before, it would ruin your day, because you've built your whole life on false information. So, but over time, we'll eventually get to a proper disclosure and a revelation, basically what I'm talking about here. So, the Cabal is the they, and their origins are deeply connected to contact, communication, and negotiation with star beings, stellans. That's where they got their influence from. That's, they are not intelligent. They are corrupt. And they have no intention of ever doing anything for humanity. Okay? They are against humanity. And if they had their choice, they would wipe out most of the earth, and they would live here by themselves with their advanced technology. So the only thing right now is the alliance. And the alliance is connected to authenticity and truth. And as long as you connect to authenticity and truth, and you're aware of the misinformation, disinformation, you're connecting to, right, sincere, authentic people, and these altruistic agencies, altruistic cultures who have your best intention, who've been here for a long time. And if they didn't have your best intention, well, they could have done something terrible a long time ago, right? But it's a process. This is a process. So this is a kind of an architecture, right? You can see how we can get into a lot of details, we can get lost. And the discussion can go on for hours and hours. But think about the architecture. Think about, how this group formed. And it is corrupt. And think about, they know what's going on, because that's where they got all their stuff from. And think about the potential for humanity if we could have open contact with these cultures, that we could become an advanced civilization, that we could overcome a lot of our handicaps, famine, disease, oil, right? Addiction, mental illness, spirituality, religion, space travel, right? Imagine what's been handed out already to the corrupt can be handed out to people. And it would take a period of time. And I have always said, it takes a period of time. You need time. Even if we had open contact today, the aliens wouldn't appear today, because that would be too strong. And it would be a gradual introduction. And the technology would be gradually introduced. And I think human beings are very adaptable now. We're waking up, we're looking for new things. That over the coming decades, 10 or 20 years, we can see a dramatic improvement in the human civilization. And an improvement that should have started 70, 80 years ago and was blocked by this cabal who have no good intention for humanity. And they have demonstrated that. And if you look at the world and you know what's really going on, you know that